Hey guys, what's up? At long last, we're here with the official ladder tournament laddering coverage. Unfortunately, I did not have my power for most last week, so we're going to be doing something interesting here. I'm going to be going through some replays, just to select few replays from each of the teams I've used to climb up the ladder. Right now, I'm in the mid 1800s because I just tilted, but prior to that, I was 1950, 1960, and I used a couple of really offensive teams that I want to showcase. The first of which is this rain team, and the second of which is going to be a hyper-offensive, just like outright setup spam team with the mixed Electricity set. I made a new variant of that team, so I figured I'd showcase both. But the first team was a rain team with Specs Pelipper, Protective Pads, Bulk Up Urshifu, Ferrothorn, Blissey, Weezing Galar, and a special Zero Aura. So I figured I'd use that team in the low ladder. I used it from like 1,000 to 1,200. I think I used it for 10 games. I'm going to bring you guys 8 of those games here. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and make another 2 parts of this like mini OLT catch-up series where I showcase the hyper-offensive team and why it did so on the ladder. So I'm hopefully bringing you guys this today on Monday, and then I'll bring you the hyper-offensive team on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I'm going to bring you guys some live laddering, and on Thursday I'll bring you guys a cycle recap just to lay it all out. And then next cycle, if I don't qualify for this cycle, which hopefully I do, but even if I do, then I'll try and bring you guys some laddering for next cycle anyway. I'm going to bring you guys even more OLT content, a lot of fun OLT laddering, a lot of stuff around the new metagame, and I know this is what you guys are all about, so definitely stay tuned, guys. We have so much content coming up this week. I'm super excited. So yeah, all right. Here it's LT71LX Finch versus random letters L1 Choike, I think. L1 Choike, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but either way, it's low ladder, so nothing over the top here. He actually forfeited, and that was the first game, and I honestly didn't remember that. I'm just going replay at a time for this team because I didn't use it for many games. I used the other team for like 50 or 60 games, but this one I only used for 10. All right, so now I'm using the same team, and I'm facing a more of a standard team. Keep in mind, this was before Cinderace and Magearna got banned, just the day before it, so Cinderace was allowed here. Looks like I'm going to give Ferrothorn, Corviknight, Grimmsnarl, Gyarados, Tyranitar, and a Cinderace, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and lead off with my Specs Pelipper because it looks pretty good in this match. He leads with Cinderace, and I'm not too scared of Electro Ball, so I'm just going to fire off a Hydro Pump, trying to catch a Tyranitar. Should have fired off a Hurricane to catch the Ferrothorn. Anyway, I missed there, so that's fine. I bring in my own Ferrothorn here as he sets up rocks. I set up rocks, and he goes to Toxic, perhaps predicting a switch. I don't really think that play made much sense, so that kind of cued me off to the fact that this guy probably wouldn't be the best battler, because it's still low ladder after all. So I just get a knockoff on the Corviknight, and I'm like, okay, I'm sitting pretty here. He goes for Drill Peck, which is an interesting choice, and I'm going to go for Leech Seed just to try and retain my Stealth Rocks up and also whittle this down for something like the Urshifu to break through with only 1 Bulk Up, because he does have Drill Peck, so it's a threat. I go Body Press Roost, I do 38, so I'm doing about as much as Roost with Leech Seed factored in, but unfortunately it's pressure, so I know that's not super sustainable, so I'm only going to go for 1 more. And now I think here I'm going to switch here into Roost to Zero Aura, right? Or do I Body Press one more time? Yeah, I think I Body Press one more time just to try and see if I can get a crit. Or just gauge the damage, see if it's a roll. And I did less than 38 that time, so 50 to 12.5, it's not the same. So I think I just try and get a higher roll one more time. And I actually get 39, which is great. And I think I switch out here. No, he switches out here. Okay. Sorry, it's been like 5 days since he's happened. I go for Body Press here. He goes Cinderace, and now I just got my Weezing here. And here's a funny turn. It turns out that not only is he Choice Banded, but he's Blaze over Libero, and he just destroys my Weezing in 1 hit when I would have lived 2 from Libero that's not Blaze, and Heavy Duty Boots are just not Choice Banded. So it's a really strong set by the opponent there, but I know he's locked in, so I can go to my Zero Aura here. He goes Tyranitar, and that's chill with me. I think I just go for the safe Volt Switch, correct. 21% there, and I bring in my Urshifu-Rapid-Strike, and now it's time to prey on the opposition. I go close combat into the Tyranitar. They're just not wanting to take like a Thunder Wave or a Dragon Tail or like some worst case scenario stuff. And thankfully I get that taken out. He goes Ferrothorn here, and I'm like, okay, that's chill with me. I'm just going to go for another close combat. You might think I'm banded at this point too, although his only fighting resist is a Gyarados, so it's not like it's much of a big deal. But I reveal him Protective Pads there, and I don't take any damage from Iron Barbs, which is cool. He goes to Grimmsnarl. He frisks the Protective Pads anyway, which is a weird Grimmsnarl set. But anyway, I go Surging Strike just in case he goes Screens, because I didn't notice he was frisking until after. But it turns out he can't be Prankster Screens quicker than me, so I just get my Surging Strike off. I take that out, and now he goes to Gyarados, and he is Heavy Duty Boots, so I just go for U-Turn. Yeah, I'm Bulk Up, Dual Stab, U-Turn, which is cool set. And I go Ferrothorn here, and I know so long as he's not sub plus bounce, I'm fine, and that's a very uncommon combination. So yeah, he goes Bounce there, does paralyze me. He takes the barbs, and I get my Leech Seed off, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. He can't 1v1 me. He can't switch into a Cinderace. It's going to die. Body Press. Corviknight's at 6%, so it's going to die too. I get the knockoff here, and I know I'm in good shape for this game unless the Gyarados pulls some black magic out of its you-know-what. Goes to Corviknight to let that go, and now I'm able to take out the last Pokemon Gyarados with my Ferrothorn and friends as he reveals his Earthquake, so yeah, he's no way he's sub. And even if he was sub, I had a chance of winning with the with the Zera Aura, because I do live a +1 waterfall, or liquidate. It doesn't get liquidate. What am I saying? I live +1 liquidate waterfall from full health, and I've got heavy duty boots, and I wouldn't set rain up for that, obviously. But yeah, he was Earthquake over Substitute, so the Marathon dealt with it. So I kind of had 100% win path there. And yeah, that was great. I also was Thunderwave in the Blissey, I believe, at this point. I think I might have changed it to Rain Dash at some point, but yeah, third game here. It looks like we're against a pretty interesting team here. He's got some really serious Pokemon like Inteleon and Jirachi. On top of that, he's got some really threatening Pokemon like Alakazam and Mew, so we'll have to wait and see. I know this one, it might even be a bit of a guessing game, if you will. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes here. So I lived with my Pelipper, just like, okay, Specs Pelipper looks really good in this matchup, and I go for the Weather Ball. And if you guys caught what I meant when guessing game, it is in fact a Metronome team, so I'm going to go ahead and just go to end this replay. There's no real strategy here. I just attacked what was in front of me, used Metronome for 13 turns, and that was that. So yeah, I was able to prevail 6-0. It was a Metronome team. There's no real skill involved here. It's just silly. But yeah, anyway, next game, I'm against the Tipped Hat. Try to check my time here real quick. It's 6 minutes. Okay. It's a Tipped Hat. Looks like he was using a really serious team for low ladder, so I needed to pay attention here. Didn't want to lose points at this point. I didn't want to lose GXCs as well. GXC doesn't really matter. Anyway, I lead with the Pelipper here, and he leaves Mew. I'm like, okay, there's no way he's got like Thunder or Thunderbolt, so I just go Weather Ball here. It does 95. And he did his leftovers. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. He doesn't really have a switch in, but I'm scared of him going for a Volt Switch or something like that. So I just go Ferro Thorn to okay, worst case, he just explodes into me, and I take resistance damage anyway. And he can go to the Magnezone, that's fine. But he actually goes Volcarona, which is chill with me because I just go to my Blissey here, and he goes Quiver Dance. I'm like, okay, bet I could deal with that for sure. He goes Quiver Dance again, and I simply go for the Thunder Wave. Yeah, I did indeed keep Thunder Wave for this game as well. I don't know when I changed it, honestly, but yeah, I go Seismic Toss here. Is he gets Flame Body at full power, but yeah, I mean, in rain, it wouldn't really do much to me anyway. He goes Psychic, that's the best he can do to me, 24%, then I'm going to be more than okay, unless he's Roost, and if he's Roost, then I just need one full power in timely fashion, I'm fine, and yeah, I go Soft Build here, and he switches out, revealing that he can't beat me with that set, and I'm looking pretty good here. He goes Wish as I go Thunder Wave. I do miss, which is a little unfortunate, but we'll live. Now he goes back to Volcarona here. I just teleport out. I bring in Pelipper, and while I do take Stealth Rock and he recovers up, I'm able to deal off a lot of damage on this turn as he goes to Magnezone. And it is Balloon Magnezone, but Weather Ball is going to easily take that out from Spec Pelipper, so that's pretty great. Yup, he's gonna be going with Fable now. I'm gonna get Weather Ball off there. It does 64%. He goes Moonblast. It is gonna bring me into Stealth Rock range, but that's fine. I do have Defog and Wheezing if I must go for that later on. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be getting consistent, steady damage on this. I do 64 to Fable, 70 to Dragon Bolt. Now I bring in my Blissey freaking okay, it's probably special, and he is in fact of the special variety, which is cool. Will-O-Wisp was there, and I go Soft Boiled already. That is fine by me. And now I think I just go Teleport or Thunder Wave. I can't quite remember which. He goes to Urshifu-Rapid-Strike, which is cool because now you have a Rapid Strike on Rapid Strike tool. But I bring my Zera Aura, which is quicker, and he just forfeits. So yeah, there's gonna be another win here. Now we're against Beast Life. He's using a really cool team, and by that I mean it's literally my team. If he kept the sets right anyway. Specs, Dragapult. We have the Utility Clef and Drill. Stealth Rock Drill, Stealth Rock Toxic Drill. I think it's just Wish, Knock, Moon, Clef. Physically defensive, oriented Tox Specs, Mandibuzz with Foul Play, and Sub Quiver Dance for Corona. But I also want to note that Kristox, who made the 6 initially, I just made the same 6 around like a week later. And I came with the Volcarona spread and a couple other sets. I made it Specs Dragapult, which in my eyes is better, and then Rob Jr. used it in the Rob Jr. video for World Cup. You might recall that video where he nuzlocked this whole pool, but yeah, he's 6-0 with Volcarona's World Cup game, and I made that. So he has a really cool team, and I believe it was included in either sample teams or my post about teams from the World Cup. So definitely check that out. But anyway, it's the same 6. I'm like, okay, maybe he changed sets, maybe it's just coincidence. I'm not sure, but I want to be careful here. So I was just going to scout for every set possible. I go Blissey here on the Dragapult, and he reveals these Thunder, so yeah, okay, it is Specs, even that. And now I'm just going to go for a Teleport here, I think. Yeah, I Teleport here, and now I get the Urshifu-Rapid-Strike in. I'm like, damn, this looks pretty good here besides Tox Specs. He's probably going to go Pex here. So I'm going to go Surging Strike just to force the Drill out, and he actually goes to Pex and takes about 30%, 33% minus Black Sludge from Rapid Strikes and Sand. So I just go back to in Rain. So I go back to Blissey here. He's Toxics me, and I'm like, okay, let's chill with me. This actually looks kind of challenging, so I gotta get a Paralysis from this. And I'm like, okay, my Urshifu-Rapid-Strike is virtually useless in this match, which is the main reason why I didn't want to use it on a higher ladder, just because it's pretty inefficient against Toxic team. So I'm gonna try and break with Pelipper, as Hurricane looks magnificent against this team. He switches out his Drill here as I go Hurricane, and it's gonna do 54 to the Pex, which yeah, it does mean he's got my spread, so yeah, it makes sense. And now it's very favorable to Tokyo, and I don't quite get it. he toxics me, which is a pain in the you-know-what. Because, like, damn it, if that was dead, then Urshifu just killed him. But on the bright side, he goes drill here, and I predict that because I know he knows I'm locking the Hurricane, and now I could get it to a kill with the Surging Strikes as he goes Pex, so that's cool, thankfully. But he could potentially salvage this and go to his Dragapult if he's smart, and if that is indeed the play, then I'm going to be in a bit of a backward position. Yeah, and he does that, so I'm only going to deal off about half damage to this Dragapult, unfortunately. Actually, only 43%. I go Ferrothorn here knowing he specs. He reveals Spec Shadow Ball there. That's an interesting play. I don't really need this Ferrothorn a ton here. I can't recall if I go Blissey. I just knock off. Yeah, that was the play. I knock off the boots, and thankfully it doesn't burn me, so that's cool. Now I go Blissey. I've got Natural Cure from the Toxic before, which is helpful. And now I think here he goes Sub as I go for the Soft Boiled. I'm like, yeah, okay, he is the same exact import. He Quiver Dances here, and I'm just going to Seismic Toss. I thankfully do break the Sub. I don't take Flame Body or anything. He goes Fire Dance. Yep, same set, and it's mod his damage as well, so... yeah, Seismic Toss there. He gets to burn, and I'm like, oh, dang. He Fire Dances there again. This is 42, and he gets another boost, and I'm like, damn it. Okay, I gotta kind of just toss out the Blissey here, which is lame. Hopefully he locks in the Shadow Ball, or I can come in on Pack Circle Fable later on. He goes Drill here. I swap out into my Urshifu, knowing, okay, I can take an Earthquake. If he goes Rocks, he goes Rocks. And now he goes back to the Pex here, and I'm like, okay, I'm a Surging Strike, and maybe get a Paralysis here, to get some nice luck here. As this is not quite into a kill range, just unfortunately after leftovers, especially Black Sludge Celestially. So I go U-turn here, and I'm like, okay, the best way to combat this is to get my Blissey up and healed, and he actually isn't even able to recover there, which means that he would be in Seismic Toss range. No, he wouldn't actually be to a kill, I think, yeah. Well, let's see how much it does in the next turn. He goes Scald here, which is interesting, but I actually soft-failed again. He recovered, so yeah, never mind that prospect at all. Now he goes Clefable here, and I Seismic Toss just to try and get some chip off, and that is fine with me. He's probably going to try and heal things up. He goes Knock first, though, which is interesting. I go for Thunder Wave, and I'm like, okay, that's fine by me. Now I go Hard Wheezing just to get the rocks off and try and maybe pose a threat. He goes Moonblast, and it actually does 23%, which is a lot for a resisted attack by defensive Clefable. So I'm like, damn. I'm not super big on the Wheezing train now. Anyway, he goes to the Drill, and I just go Defog, and it's fine with me. Now I can get my Pallet Burn if I want to. He goes for the Toxic again. I'm not sure what that was predicting, honestly, but I'll take the free switch in. He goes Rocks here. And now I go Hurricane predicting packs, and he risked the Drill, and it was kind of lame. It was a good play, but it was kind of lame for me because I was like hoping that he'd let this get weakened a lot or die. These are, but truth be told, 2 Hurricanes puts him at 34% anyway, so it's chill with me. Unfortunately, though, I believe he gets to flinch on his second Iron Head, and that's really unfortunate for me, but it's fine. He's still in Zero Aura range, and I bring my Urshifu-Rapid-Strike in here, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. He goes to Pex. I get a U-turn off here. I bring in my Zero Aura, and now it's time to start firing off strong Thunders. I go for the Thunder there. I do connect. I do 66% of the Pex. He does get a Toxic off, but that's fine. He goes Drill here, and I predict that, I believe, and go for a Focus Blast, and I connect, so that's good. Now that's out of the way, I can start spamming my electric moves. The thing is that I'm on a timer now, so it's pretty rough. He goes Mandibus here, which makes no sense at all unless you take the Volt Switch. So I'm like, okay, well, somehow I'm finally getting ahead of this matchup despite it being kind of dire between Drill plus the attack swallowing defensively. He goes for a Roost here, and I believe I go for the Defog to finally remove the rock in the game for the entirety of the remainder of the game from his side. My side, rather. He goes Dragapult now on a Corrosive Gas. Oh, right. Corrosive Gas, so I didn't Strange Team, and now he forfeits for some unknown reason when he still very much could have won, but we'll take it. There's a low ladder after all, so yeah. Next up, we're against a really offensive team here. We go ahead and switch sides. Yeah, he's got a Cloyster, Pangoro, Charizard, Vikavolt, Duraludon, and a Gardevoir. He leads off with his Cloyster. I'm like, okay, I believe I can take a Rock Blast and I Hurricane and takes it out turn 1, so it's a pretty damn good start. He now goes to his Vikavolt. I'm like, okay, I'll gladly just trade like 90% of your health. It turns out it actually did 99, and he Discharge takes me out. That is fine by me. I'm going to go ahead now, go to my Urshifu-Rapid-Strike here, take it out with a Surging Strike, a single Surging Strike at that. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, now I take it out with the Pangoro with Close Combat, looking pretty good at this point, I'd say. Yeah, and that's going to be the game. Next up, we're against just... How many more games do I have with this? 2? No, only 2 more. Okay, now I'm against Just Sail. Looks like he's got a pretty legitimate team, but I definitely have my way of beating him with my Urshifu. He leads with the Gengar. I'm like, okay, that's fine by me. I go Blissey here, and he goes Nasty Plot right at the bat, not scared of anything, which is pretty cool. Now he goes Rillaboom here, I guess thinking that I wall him, I get a Thunder Wave off, and that's fine. I teleport here. I bring in my Weezing. And at this point, he goes Swords Dance as I go for the Corrosive Gas, knock off an Akaberry, and at this point, I noticed I was accidentally levitate, and I noticed it like right before, and I'm like, okay, that's funny. I get a Strange Team off, and I'm actually walling him, so yeah, it turns out that my miss ability actually let me play in a different fashion, and I mean, to be fair, I would have played around it very differently, but yeah, this helps a lot. Anyway, he goes Gengar on the next range team here, and he goes for a trick, so it turns out he's Nasty Plot Trick. He Nasty Plotted there to try and bait this sequence, which is a really cool play, but like, that's fine. I teleport, and Thunder is always killing this Gengar, but I miss, and I'm like, oh no, I'm probably going to lose this game now. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. So now I'm in a huge hole, and this guy's popping up in the chat. But yeah, I don't really think I could win this game at this point, unfortunately, barring some major chokes. Thankfully, I can bring the Blissey in to try and like sort of soft check as he goes for another Shadow Ball, but at the same time, it's like, crap, like now what do I do? I Thunder Wave him, and I'm like locked in a choice. He should go for Shadow Ball here, so it's everything else, but he goes Sludge Wave for some unknown reason. And now that he's paralyzed, I go Blissey here, and he goes for, I presume, a Shadow Ball there trying to kill me. And he goes for another Shadow Ball, taking a switch, but like, I'm locked in, I'm teleporting, obviously, so whatever. I bring in my Urshifu here, and I do get the kill, but unfortunately it's that Zeraora, which was pretty much needed against his whole team, so it's really unfortunate, but it's fine. I get a U-turn off here, predicting him not the Grassy Glide, and I bring in the Ferrothorn on a Swords Dance. I'm like, okay, hopefully he's not going to be close a superpower, and then I should be able to beat the 1v1 here, and he goes for Drain Punch. I'm like, oh my god, why is it Drain Punch? So now I'm in a really rough spot, again, because of the Thunder Miss. I kind of just won if I hit that, but it's chill. He can't really do much to me, so he goes to the Clefable here on a Strange Team. It takes 28. I'm like, okay. I don't really think I could break the Clefable, though, now without the Zeraora and such, so he goes Rocks. Now he goes Healing Wish as I teleport, and I bring in the Weezing here. I'm like, okay, what's he going to Healing Wish up to? I'm like, oh, damn, I remember the Healing Wish mechanics now. And I'm like, I'm not the Corrosive Gas, so I give him adaptability, so I have to switch out. But he goes for Swords Dance. I'm like, okay, please don't be Sash. He's not Sash, so I can't take him out here. Yes, let's chill. But now it's like, okay, I need my Weezing for all three Pokemon, and it's not going to be able to beat all three. He goes to Rillaboom here, and he heals up, so yeah. I go hard Weezing here. And he goes Lucha. I'm like, okay, hopefully he's not the defensive spread I have, because then I could kill it, but unfortunately here, he's going to be able to live the Strange Team at 18%, no confusion, and get a plus target battle out, and I'm just knowing I'm able to win the game from there. Yeah, as he should be able to win the game with his Zeraora, which I could have easily put in range with my Zeraora here. He goes Bulk Up here, and yeah, it's just unfortunate. That's that. Pain Split here, and yeah, that's the game. So, next up in the last game is going to be me versus XX Renso XX, I believe. At this point, I'm 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 6-1, and losing this early for me is really rough because I like winning the first 15-20 games to get the GXC up. But this isn't Rex, so in reality, GXC doesn't matter. All that matters is Elo. If you guys have questions about what those means, what the ladder terms means, you don't ladder much, then let me know in the comments below, and I can correct them. But anyway, one more game here. I figured I'd get this team out going. I was playing at my dad's office on my phone, so it's kind of rough, but it's fine. Anyway, I lead Pelipper. He goes for Fake Out with a Mienshao turn 1. Then he goes U-turn turn 2. I'm like, okay, let me just fire off a Hurricane or a Weather Ball or whatever. I go Hurricane. It does 38% to what I believe is a Milotic. I'm not sure why the spread's not showing. Now he goes to Zordon Heat. I go for another. And I get a crit there for 55%, which is helpful. And now he goes Zeraora, predicting an electric move. He goes Volt Switch. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Now, I think I go for the Grass Knot here, predicting a Powdown, because he could die to close combat from Life Orb variants. But then I'm like, oh, this is low ladder, not scatting. So that was actually a bad misplay by my part, but thankfully, since Rain was up, I didn't take much damage. He goes for another Overeat here. I don't want to risk getting a Focus Blast into him. This is offensive from that damage. Now I go back to Zeraora, and the Volt Switch to heal up, and I'm like, okay, stunt or die, and it turns out that I didn't die, so I stunted, but he actually reveals Toxic as he lives the Focus Blast. So he's got, like, no speed and, like, max special attack, and yeah, and I Volt Switch there, so I get a crit into the Marowak, but again, I don't see much stopping this Urshifu from just completely devouring the competition in this game. I go for Surgic Strike into my Milotic. I'm doing, like, 35%, I think. Yeah. And now he's definitely close combat range, so I should be able to take him out with that, as I'm not choiced. He probably was like specially defensive given that. And anyway, he goes to Mienshao here. I go to Louise and Galar here. I get the neutralizing gas, which I did fix between games. High jump he's only did 14%. That's actually like Life Orb damage too. So yeah, it's really heavily resisted. U-turn's gonna do 5. Again, I'm resisting all these hits like multiple times over. He goes to Espeon here, so I just go Corrosive Gas, and I thankfully am able to Corrosive Gas it because I've got my own neutralizing gas, but it's worth noting that it would have actually been bounced back if it was normally done by like a regular Weezing. But anyway, He goes Marowak, I teleport from Blissey into Urshifu, and I'm able to get the Surging Strike off, and that's a pretty damn good turn for me, as I'm able to bring it to 6-4. He goes back to me on shot, I'm like, okay, I should be able to live these 2 hits. And now, yeah, he goes close combat, I live with 3%. I calculated out, he had like 1 in 16 chance of killing, I believe. Take him out with Surging Strikes, it's going to be another kill, so now we're in a 6-3 position, and he forfeits. Okay, so that was the first team I used over the first handful of games in the ladder. I like using a fun team in a low ladder, just, get me going, get a little inspiration going, and fun for the viewers, so. People wanted me to use Urshifu Surging Strike. I'm sorry I didn't get to use it in a formal live, but rather just in going over some replays. But I hope you guys saw the strategy here. The main weakness of this team is probably Tox Specs, but offensively, besides Tox Specs, Urshifu-Rapid-Strike is a really strong option in the metagame, and it definitely thrives on rain. I think a choice band set might be a bit more effective than the protected pads bulk up set. However, I like not being locked into a move on the low ladder, just so a lot of them tunnel vision on the choice sets or just don't know what to switch and do. So yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and more official ladder tournament content coming very soon. Alright, guys, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day. Peace out.